Right, let's get the Stable Diffusion Dream Booth extension running on local install of Stable Diffusion with the automatic 1111 web UI. A4, can we call it A4 instead of automatic 1111? Or some other acronym? I don't know. Anyway, let's get this running. So I saw this post yesterday. I sat on it for a little bit. I tried it out this morning. I was able to get it working on my 30, 80, 10 gig card, which I was super excited about. I wanted to share this. So I'm going to show you what I had to do. There's just barely enough memory to get this to work. So you really have to, you really got to cut. I mean, you got to cut deep and get a bunch of things closed in order to make this work. So what I've done is I've sort of set up a little workflow for myself that I've been using for a while. But I want to show you what I've been doing to kind of get my memory conservation under control, and then also some of the UI stuff that I've done just to kind of pretty things up a little bit. But this works, and I'm really excited about this. So this post is by Hacksider and then originally by Leprow. I think that's how you say it. These settings work, so we're just going to go ahead and start doing this. I'm going to pop open the Stable Diffusion. This is a fresh install, by the way. Dropped it into a folder called Dream Booth. It is exclusively set up to use as a Dream Booth trainer. This is not part of my regular Stable Diffusion installer that has all the models and all of my extensions and everything installed. The only extension in here is the Dream Booth extension. So we're going to edit this. I'm going to drop in the Xformers, or as I like to call them, transformers, right into the command line arguments. And then I'm going to also add dark, because I like the dark theme. I don't like the white theme. We'll close this up. All right. Now I'm going to run that because this does take a while to start up. It's just slow. It might just be my machine. I don't know, but it's just slow. We'll get back to these settings in just a second. But what I want to show you now is if we drop into a command prompt, do that right from the folder path there in the Explorer window, and you type NVIDIA SMI, you can see what's in your VRAM. This is separate from your regular RAM, so if you run your task manager, which I have running right here, you can and you pop over to your processes that are open, you'll see a ton of things running there. This is not that. This shows you what's on the GPU. This is a great little tool, except that to get your real-time updates, you have to hit the up arrow and you have to just kind of keep pounding it to get it, to show you what you want to over and over and over. So I found this tool called NVI Top that works really well. So I'm just going to install that real quick. Pip install NVI Top. And it's in. I'm going to run it. You can see in real time what's running on the GPU. Make this a little taller. I can see I've got 415 megs currently consumed out of my 1024 gig. Or, sorry, 1024 megabytes right here. 10 gig. I got some things running down here I need to kill. So I'm not going to kill my backup and my malware software, protector software. So I'm going to leave that there. But I am going to kill some of these other things. Again, your SMI tool that we just looked at for the NVIDIA SMI can't kill anything. With this tool, you can kill things. Hopefully. This is how I trim text input host. Don't need it. Kill it. Vivaldi. This is interesting. So I'm also using this browser specifically to run all of my UI and all of my Stable Diffusion stuff in. And the reason is because I wanted a browser that didn't have any extensions, I didn't have anything loaded, nothing to do any conflicts with the web interface or anything like that. But it is consuming VRAM, so I need to free that up. Fortunately, all Chrome-based browsers have an option to free that up, and you can find that in any browser, whether it's Chrome or Brave or Vivaldi or whatever. This is sort of my obscure browser that I use just for this type of thing. So I'll just start to type the word accelerate and I'll turn this off. Close this, close the web browser. You'll see it drop from the list. But what's key is when I open it back up, and then I go back to the NVI Top, it doesn't reappear. Now, I've got Stable Diffusion loaded. I wish I wouldn't have loaded it just then because I could have showed you that my memory was probably down in the high 200s, 200 megabytes. That's great. That gives us just enough to clear that 10 gig requirement, a little bit lower. So, all right, we've got Stable Diffusion running. I've got a browser open. Let's just pop open this tab. You'll see it's running with the dark theme. Love it. I was using a different, I had a browser extension for a while I was using, but then I stopped using it. So now one of the things that I wanted to, that I need to know is that when I train something, I need to know if it's actually training it. So this model, the default model from Stable Diffusion is like a year plus old. So I know that my vehicle is not in it because my vehicle didn't exist. It did exist, but not the body style. And so I have a Subaru Outback Wilderness. So if I type Outback Wilderness and I run that, it will generate a Subaru Outback, probably in the Wilderness, but not with the Wilderness body style. And so I wanted to run this first so that I can actually see what the comparison would be after the training happens. So once that's done running here, I don't know what the deal is. It's just deciding to spin up. There it goes. And there's a Subaru. These cars always have something on the roof. Let me run it again real quick. Okay, classic Subaru. All right, I'm gonna drag this out to my desk no, I'm not. I'm gonna open this in a new tab. There we go. All right, this is great. So I've got my sort of image that I've saved. And if I go to PNG info and then later drag that back into the PNG info page, I'll be able to get all my parameters to feed back into the text to image. So when we run our checkpoint on it, the new train checkpoint, that body should change, right? That's the plan. So we're just gonna leave that like that, okay. I'm gonna take this tab and nest it back in this browser just so I have it. All right, let's do some training. So I already collected some images. And the images are of a Subaru Outback Wilderness. I'd like to thank everybody who takes pictures of their cars so that I could use these as a demonstration. This is the type of vehicle that I have, although mine does not look quite as nice as this with all of the overlanding gear on it, but this is basically it. So I got to get these prepared. You can see that they're not square. The aspects are off. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that sorted out real quick. I'm going to use Burmy, not sure. I'm going to drop these in here. Just Control A. There they are. It's automatically sizing them. Let me just adjust the focus on these real quick. That looks good. This car looks good. That one's good. Drop that. I think we're good to go. All right, let me rename these and I'm just going to type it car. Type car. Save the zip. I'm going to open it. There it is. Come back to my folder. I'm going to put them up a level because I want to keep my originals for whatever reason. Don't know why. I just like to do that. Just drop them in here and they're good to go. All right, we'll close the zip file. We'll close the image cropper resizer tool. Get rid of that little guy. All right, so I got my images. We've got Dream Booth installed and running. By the way, if you don't have Dream Booth installed, what you do is you go to the extensions tab, you click available, you load it up, and it will show you the extensions that you have here that you can then install them, go back to the installed tab, apply them, and then restart the UI. But I'm not going to do that because I already have it running. What I am going to do though is since I ran this test earlier is see if there's actually been any code updates. If there have been, I'm not going to update it. I'm behind. I'm not going to update it. I probably should, but I'm not going to, not for this demo. Okay, back to Dream Booth. So I've got my pictures. I've got my model. Default model is up here. I could say the default checkpoint. I'm just going to start. I'm going to give this thing a name. I'm going to call it a tag that likely wouldn't exist in the regular checkpoint. OBW for Outback Wilderness. I'm going to select the regular model checkpoint, and I'm just going to pick the PNDM scheduler on that. Create it. Now, in the tools, we can see that some things are happening, which is pretty cool. We can also see in our command prompt that we ran just as part of, booting up not booting up, but spinning up the Python script to get Stable Diffusion running. We can see that running there too. I can see that the things are just kind of chugging along. So we're writing out the checkpoint right now. While that is writing out, I'm going to come back to my settings. I'm going to do something that maybe you haven't seen before. This might be a really fun takeaway. I'm going to pop down here to my hypernetworks. Let's do the developer tools. This will look a little different in different browsers. I'm going to do an inspect on that. And I'm going to grab this setting, but I'm not going to grab the word setting. I'm just going to grab SD hypernetwork. I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to drop it in here. Okay. Then I'm going to go to, let's see, let's do the clip tool, right? The clip model. Developer tools, inspect. Again, don't copy the settings underscore, just copy everything after that. I'm going to copy that. Let's go back up here. Paste. And then let's do, there was an in-painting one too, right? Let me find that. In-painting with conditioning mask. Inspect. Right here. Setting in-painting conditioning mask. Wait. Copy that. I'm going to drop that in here as well. Now, I'm going to apply these settings, but I'm not going to restart the UI because I'm in the middle of setting up a training, but I'm going to apply them. Okay, good. This has been saved. The OBW model has been saved. We're going to pop over into our Dream Booth folder. And I'm going to hit models, hit Dream Booth. We can see it right here. These are the working files. The actual Stable Diffusion model has not been built yet because we haven't trained anything. So let's pop over to the train model section. So I'm going to choose the OBW model from the top here. And this is where things get a little interesting. According to the, sorry, I'm kind of going click crazy here. Let me pop open a new browser, hit this. Okay, according to this, these are the settings we need to use. Okay, good, I got them all locked in. I'm a bit of a fast reader. So I'm just going to give this a name, Instant Prompt OBW. Dataset directory, we know what that is, right? Back to Dream Booth, back to my train me images. I'm going to copy this path, paste that into there. I think I'm only going to use 1,000 steps just as a courtesy to get this video done faster. I will shorten it. Learning rate seems fine. Checkpoint, I'm going to leave this blank because that's what it said to do in the text file. No preview image prompt, not going to do it. Just want to get it trained. And then I'm going to unroll this, turn off the train encoder or train text encoder, turn on use 8-bit Atom, set the precision to 16, and not touch anything else. This should work. Moving pretty fast, I realize that. So we're going to watch everything when I hit this train button. Okay. Allocated. Heading over here. Please work. We're training. Everything's in the red. All right, look at the task manager. Watch the GPU. Oh, we're just barely underneath. Look at that. 9.8. Had I not killed those other processes, I wouldn't be able to do this. You really have to manage your memory with the 10 gig card. So this means also that Windows, being the way Windows is it will occasionally just decide to run something. It may try to run something in the background, run an update or something like that that may tap your GPU. So that's why I went through and I try to kill everything I can, because you never know what's going to run when you're in the middle of a training that could actually boom, pop you up above that 10 gig. So we're going to let this train. It's going to be, what does it say? Does it have a calculator? 7 minutes for 1,000? That's pretty good. 2,000 would be better. But our results we're looking for is to just change the body style of this vehicle. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so we're going to pause and then we'll come back. All right, sounds good. All right, so we're about done training. Now it's saving the checkpoint. We just finished the 1,000 iterations. And we're going to take a look at the folder structure real quick to see what's going on with that. Head over to the models folder, look at the Stable Diffusion. It's not in here yet, but we're going to see it go. Look at the CPU, man. It went a little crazy there. It was red for a while. We'll see the model show up here. Successfully trained the model and converting it to a checkpoint. Here it is. So it's saving it. I expect to hear the graphics card do a little whining when it gets ready to do that. I hear my GPU, or not the GPU, but the fans. Oh, there it goes. It's converting. There it goes. So it converted it. It wrote it out to the file system here. So now we've got the model. Okay. So we've got the model. The VRAM's been cleared. We're back down to 3 gig. So it dumped it out of there and the training is complete. We did 1,000 iterations. We should be able to change the body of the car. The only problem is I used to think I had to restart the stinking interface all the time and just shut down Stable Diffusion and bring it back up. And it was just like down and up and down and up. But I found out that to get the models to show up in the top of the UI, all you really need to do is just reload the UI. So we're going to do that. So remember in the settings, we went in and entered in a few different config things into the quick settings list. And I'm going to show you what those do. I'll just apply them again just for funsies. We'll go to the bottom and restart. You'll see over here, it reloads it, fires it back up, and across the top of the browser, across the top of the viewport, we now have some extra settings. So this is important because if you find yourself going in and using certain settings, like you have an extension that you use all the time and you want to have a particular setting for the extension up in the top, you can just grab that little section of the settings dashboard and you can copy and paste that into your quick settings and it'll show up in the top row. Very useful. You can really get some customization going for this. So we reloaded the UI. That means the checkpoint should be listed. It is. Good. It's loading in the background. We just saw it load. It loaded fast. Now here's our image that we did before. So I'm going to drag that out like I did before. Head over to the PNG info tab, drop it in. Drop it in. There it goes. Send it over to text to image. Now it's going to pull the regular Stable Diffusion model checkpoint back up. So I'm going to have to switch it back to the OBW checkpoint. So we just got to wait for this to load because life is loading. I remember a million years ago when I was an early adopter of Photoshop that I always said, wouldn't it be nice if there was a make art button in Photoshop? And then the bevel filters came out. And then the drop shadow filters came out. And then the alien skin filters were added to Photoshop and you could start doing all these crazy things. And well, now you have an actual make art plugin for Photoshop. It's pretty crazy. All right, so we've got this loaded in. We've got the prompt in here. We've got our seed in here. We're going to change. Oh, I'm going to run it again just to verify. Good. Looks about right. Now let's switch over to the OBW checkpoint. What we're looking for here is for a body change, right? For the change of the body style, which, as a point of reference, when I come back here, you can see looks something like this. Opened up on the other screen, sorry about that. Looks something like this. We've got cladding. We've got some cladding that comes up the front. We've got some stuff going on with the roof with some recovery boards and some storage and, beefy tires and things like that. So we're looking for those things to show up on here. So we're going to generate this with the new checkpoint. There we have it. We've got cladding on the wheels. We've got cladding up the front. We've got a big bloated surfboard kayak container thing on top of the car. Don't know what it is. Let's run it again. Oh, same seed. Let's go ahead and shuffle that seed. There it is. It's got the cladding on the wheels. So I only gave it a few images. Again, up the front, cladding on the wheels. Business up top. so this is working. So we can train things on a 10 gig card without any problems. It works. Maybe you have a few takeaways with being able to add some things across the top of your viewport here. Grab those from the settings tab. You now have a new tool, if you haven't been using it, that you can use to manage your memory of your card. As a side note, go a little deeper. When you're in here and editing your web user.bat file, you can actually, above the call web UI, of course, you can do get pull. You can also do start NVI top. And when every time you run this batch file, it'll go ahead and pop up. And it'll just be running for you. So you can just monitor it whether you want it or not, and it'll be up and running. So this is just a really good tool to have. So anyway, I hope this helps. Yes, you can run it on a 10 gig card. This is proof it runs, but you really got to manage that memory. I hope this is helpful. Share it across the world. I hope other people have as much fun training their own stuff as I do. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.